Alright, welcome everyone to the second round of 2S Tier 2. And we're at the Barcelona-Catalunya track. My name is Vito, I am the commentator for tonight. And we will be starting the qualifying just now, as we have the first cars out on track. And I think it's McCalcan Man, who is first out on track in the Haas. Of course, all the drivers are still warming up their tires on their outlap. Unfortunately, only 14 people today. Of course, still vacation time, so I'm pretty sure a lot of people will join later on in the season. But now onto the race, or the qualifying session that we have here. Still 15 minutes left. There's a couple of strategies that people can do. I guess the soft hard is a option. Soft medium medium. Or the medium hard, which I would think would be the main strategy here. But McCalcan is now starting his hot lap, so let's go on board with him. As he's flying down towards turn 1, doesn't hit the nasty bump that the game can give you. And he's now going into turn 3. Of course, staying flat here in the qualifying, trying to stay to the inside and then flow back to the outside, braking under the bridge. Doesn't really hit the apex, now powering out to the outside. Of course, most of the drivers will be setting a banker lap at first. Just to get themselves warmed up and ready for the proper hot laps later on. And McCalcan going through turn 9 keeps it clean. One of the hardest corners on the track, because it's flat out and it's very easy to lose your car on the exit on the curb, or just lose it mid corner. Now into this cursed sector 3 for some. Little bit of oversteer, keeps it in the track though. Now through the last few corners, takes the curb on the chicane. Interesting, and he will go over the line, and his time will be a 1:17.5, and I think the next car behind him is Pixel, who did a 1:16.0. So obviously McCalcan had a few issues on his way, so did Curse. Curse I think lifted before the line. That might mean he will want to do a medium lap later on. Wimpy going P2 with 1:16.2, and I think there will be Larson that's coming to the line right now. As his teammate just went P3 on the mediums with 1:16.3. Larson on the softs going P2 with 1:16.1. Next one over the line, not over the line, deciding to go into the pits is Kalazerb, who is going into the pits, the AlphaTauri driver. Do we have any other cars? I think those cars are lining up for a hot lap. Now it's so hard to see with some of these colors. That's Alexander now going P1 with a 1:15.8 on the medium tire. So I think a lot of these drivers on the softs are just setting a banker where they can improve on their medium. And I think Alexander is going for a back-to-back hot lap, as he seems to be pushing. Hitting the apex very nicely, now powering out to the outside. Barely staying in the track, not touching the grass. Of course, car looked like it was on the grass, but the game hitbox said no. Is the stream not live, or is that me? Nope, that's just me. Through turn 9, I think there was a little lift. Not completely flat, of course, very hard to do completely flat on the mediums. Into sector 3. I didn't see if he was on an improvement. But in sector 3 now, trying to push the car to the absolute limit. Of course, Barcelona Sector 3 is very notorious for its very awkward downhill chicane. And now flying towards the line, DRS open, it will be a 1:15.4, so almost a 4/10th improvement. That's a very decent lap by him. Now Painitina is going to P6 with a 16.6 on the mediums. Let's see who else is... Now that's Bands, who is just coming out of the pit lane. So will that be a Red Bull? That was a Alfa Romeo spinning. I believe that was Suika who spun in turn 2. And I believe that's Mali. Yes, it is, who is about to start his hot lap. So Mali now starting his hot lap in the Red Bull, opening the DRS, and this will be his first lap on the soft. So I wonder if he'll be going for the soft strategy or he will be lifting before the line. Now Painitina is spinning out of turn 9. Let's have a little look at that. I think we can see that through Bentz's POV. No, Benz has already passed it. Then maybe Pixel's POV. Let's go Pixel. Oh, the car's already gone. Alright, so let's go back to Mali then. Mali on his hot lap, stabbing the wheel a little bit. Now Barcelona, very difficult track to overtake, so I think the overtaking possibilities here will mainly be on the straights. Don't expect many overtaking in the corners. Mali losing the rear end a little bit, but keeps it under control. Stays clean in turn 9. There won't be a lot of overtaking, I don't think, here. Mostly strategy overtaking. So definitely tire choice will be one of the most important things here to keep in mind. As Mali again losing it a little bit on the curb. That will cost him a lot of time for sure. He might abandon this lap. He doesn't, he continues. Does he lift before the line? No, he finishes the lap. He goes P2 with 1:15.5. So there's definitely a lot of time for him still in that lap. Let's now go on board with Pixel, who is in the Alpine. Currently in P3, I believe. Yes, he is currently in P3. On the mediums, gonna try to improve his current time. The number 27 Alpine. Now in turn 9, a little bit of a lift. Keeps it safe, short shift up to 8. Is he up on his time? He is about a 10th up on his time. So not the best so far. But maybe he has it all in sector 3. There's the yellow flag in sector 1. That's one of the Aston Martins. I would think that's Joel, who was spun in turn 2. Just before in turn 3. And Pixel improves by less than a 10th. So he stays on P3 currently. Let's see if that was Joel. It was Joel indeed who had spun in turn 2. Now his tires will be cooking. So let's now go on board with Curse, who is on a hold up in sector 3. Now it does look like he gets a little bit of dirty air from McAlkman, who is in front, but he's also on a hot lap, so this isn't blocking. But it is very unfortunate for him to get the dirty air. Goes P4, Curse does, and McAlkman goes P10. Now Tipsy Bob in the McLaren, also on the mediums. There is only 4 cars on the softs, as Calazer went P3 on the softs with a 15.7. And of course, good evening to everyone in the chat. Good evening, Dragon, Nico, Chris. Good evening, ladies. Now Tipsy in sector 3 on the medium tires. Now I wonder why Bands hasn't completed a lap yet. Of course, that Bands being last race winner, aka the winner of round 1. Will he be able to continue this streak? That's the question. Will he be able to win again here in Barcelona? He has to set that car on pole currently to be the net leader of the medium tires. Now is that Calizerb who is on a hot lap? Looks like he is. The AlphaTauri, very pretty car this season, I have to say. The white rims is what does it for me on the AlphaTauri. And he goes in, so he abandons his hot lap. Who else? I think that's just Bant who's on a hot lap. And is that McCalkman who has spun? It is. So I don't think the Haas driver is feeling those mediums. But now, that Bant, last race winner, is starting his hot lap. Let's drive a lap on board with him on the mediums. The current time to beat is a 15.4. And will he be able to beat that? I guess we'll see in about a minute. Dropping down to 4th gear in turn 1, taking the curb on the left. Does that very clean. Turn 3 keeps it flat. Doesn't hold the inside as some of the other drivers do. First sector split is a 21.4. And not going purple in sector 1. But that might be setup dependent. Keeps it nice and clean on the exit here. Very tidy. Doesn't have any wheel spin. This is also one of the easiest corners to invalidate right here. You go over a little bit too much. You push a little bit too much and you end up on that curb. Which could potentially cost you your entire race or qualifying session if you aren't careful. First into sector 3 now. In the Alpine. Very pretty car this is, the Alpine. And now Bant's in the last corner. Flying towards the line. DRS open. What is it gonna be? It's gonna be P7 with a 116.2. Now that is his first lap, so I think he might do a cooldown and go for another one. Or he's going for a back-to-back. Now I think, is that Molly on a hot lap? It is, but Molly invalidates. Loses rear end. He has, it looks like he has a little bit of issues with oversteer in the setup. His car doesn't look too stable on the entire lap, which is interesting. Now Joel on this hot lap in the Aston Martin. The Aston Martin, of course, a fan favorite livery of this season. Keeps it clean in turn 9. It's incredible how late these cars can brake nowadays. The braking at 100 meters is insane with that speed. Especially for a hairpin. And he invalidated in sector 3. Very unfortunate for Joel. And he decides to go in. Probably doesn't have enough fuel for another hot lap. Now Calzerbe is on his outlap. Going off track. I wonder if he will be able to maybe snag pole. He only has to improve 3 tenths to snag pole position from Alex. Of course, he is on the softs. So if he will be able to improve those 3 tenths, pole position right for him, and Tipsy will be retiring in the pit lane. Doesn't see the point in going out once more. Doesn't think he can improve. Calzerbe is going into turn 1. Doesn't take the curb in turn 2, which most of the other drivers do. Now that might lose him a little bit of time. Maybe it works out better for him. There's a yellow flag in front of him. I think that's Wimpy going slow. So Wimpy letting the drivers behind him pass because he is not on hot lap. And Calzerbe spins, loses a wheel. Too greedy on the power there, and that causes him to spin. That just cost him his entire qualifying. Now there is some wing on the track. Shouldn't matter much. But that's the AlphaTauri out of the qualifying session. Now Wimpy, who is about to start his hot lap, I believe. It's starting to come to the end of the qualifying session. Of course, all the drivers, you can see a lot of the drivers now actually deciding to go for softs, which is interesting. So I would think the medium has such a big advantage here. They wouldn't go for the softs in the end. Of course, the medium hard strategy is way easier on managing the tires than the soft hard or soft medium medium. Well, maybe not easier than the soft medium medium, but definitely hard or easier than the soft hard. Wimpy now going to turn 7, and this chicane is really the point where a lot of drivers invalidate / lose their grip. Wimpy is looking quite quick. How much is he up on his time? He is 2.5 tenths down, a little bit more than that. So he is on quite a big improvement. That would currently set him on, I believe, P4. So if he can improve a little bit more in Sector 3, that might put him in the top 3. Now Alexander going on soft to defend his pole position probably. And Wimpy goes P2 on the soft tire to 15.5. Mali on an invalidated lap with the medium tires. No, I wonder why Alexander is going out on soft. He might be just gonna go out, start his lap, and if he doesn't lose pole position, abandon it and try to stay on the medium tire. Who haven't we shown yet? Let's show Larson, who is on his soft lap right now. Down to turn 1, braking at the little grey patch on the left. Again, not taking the inside curb for turn 2. Which is interesting, because I believe that gives you a lot of speed. And Larson goes on the AstroTurf and spins in turn 3. And that's a little bit of lag. That's interesting. And I think that's Joel that spun too. So both the Aston Martin spinning in turn 3, that's interesting. I wonder what happened to Larson. And he's going now. But that's interesting. Not sure what happened there. Let's go on board with Bance again, who is in turn... or in sector 3, excuse me. Trying to get a little bit of a tow from his teammate. Currently goes pole position with a 1:15.3. That Bance on pole on the soft tire compound. And Alexander is on a validated lap, so he will not improve and not keep pole position. Now Kurs, the other Williams, is also on an invalidated lap. Pixel spinning in turn 3, so we have a lot of people spinning in turn 3. Doesn't get hit by a teammate. Both the Aston Martins aren't going to be able to finish their hot lap, so I believe this is it. I believe this is the end of qualifying. Mali is still on a hot lap, but I think that's abandoned. I don't think there will be improvement. Mali currently on a 15.5 and he does improve. He lifts before the line. Knows he won't improve. Let's see what time Kurs would have done if it wasn't invalidated. Would have been a 15.1. That would have been pole position by more than 2 tenths. So very unfortunate from Kurs. But our pole sitter, ladies and gentlemen, is that band in the Alpine. So last race winner is currently on pole. And his teammate Pixel currently in P8, pulling into the pits after his spin he had in turn 3. So in the end we only have 4 cars on the mediums. Mali, who's in P4, which is a very good position for the mediums. Neon Rays, who's in P6 on the mediums, also a very good position. And then both the McLarens, who are unfortunately out of the top 10 on mediums as well. So, do we have any incident besides terminal damage and exceeding track? We have a couple of speeding in pit lane, which shouldn't matter much because I don't think any driver did it multiple times. So yeah, that is banned on P1 and Alexander in P2, and I think that was... shoot, I don't remember who's on P3. Yikes, that's unfortunate. Ten out of 10 commentator right away. So now the drivers are picking their strategy, deciding how much fuel they want to take for the race, and we will be going on our formation lap in about 30 seconds. Hopefully we will see no crashes, no safety cars during the race. That would be optimal. And we will be starting our formation lap right now. So of course all the drivers will be warming up their tires. Now I don't think on the softs you really need to warm up these tires, because the track is warm enough to just warm them up themselves by driving over it. Of course, Spain, a very harsh track on tire wear. Tire degradation. I think that the soft tire will be pretty much overheated throughout the entire stint, where the medium and hard don't have that much of a problem with it. So as you can see, the game predicts a 2-stop, soft medium medium or soft medium hard. Now the soft medium hard is questionable to say the least. I expect some drivers to even do the soft hard, if I'm gonna be honest. So we actually have more drivers on the softs. We have Alex, who is on the softs in the end. That's a really good position for him on the softs. Of course he abandoned his last lap, or he invalidated it. So he's P2 on the softs. Then Kurz is P5 on the softs, Neon P6 on the softs, Pixel and P8 on the softs. And so are the both Astons. Now Larsen taking a wee bit of a different line. And we are coming into sector 3, of course, towards the end of the lap, where all the drivers are supposed to have their tires already nice and warm. Not too crispy. I think Bands has got them pretty nicely. Let me turn off the telemetry real quick. So all the drivers are lining up on the grid right now. The last little wheel spin will be in just a second. There it is. And bonjour, Antoine. And everyone lined up on the grid now. We're just waiting for Tipsy to line up at the back. And we will be on our way in just a second. And 1 light, 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights. And away we go with Bands having an initial decent start. The other Williams there, that's Kurz, having a very good start. The Red Bulls going side by side, Kurz going side by side with Neon Rays. There was a little bit of a touch, there's a touch in turn 1, a little bit of 3 wide I saw there. I think that's Joel who is off, but keeps it on track. So Bands is still leading, there's some fighting towards the back. I think that's Neon fighting with Kurz, but now Wimpy's trying to go around the outside. Wimpy went on the grass, Wimpy on the grass, so he is off. And is back on track now again. Now kind of pushing Suka off. There is a bit of a jam in front of him. I think that's Wimpy lagging all over the place. I'm not sure what happened there. I think Wimpy might be lagging a little bit. I think there's a McLaren of Piney Tina's fighting with McAlkman in the Haas. Now if Alexander can stay in the DRS of that band, he will be in a really good position to potentially win this race. So lap 1 was pretty clean from what I saw. Vance now setting, of course, the fastest lap as he is the leader. And there's already a little bit of a gap within the pack. The gap between P5 and P6 is already more than a second. Let's see how many positions people have gained and or lost. So Tipsy Bob actually gaining 5 positions and Wimpy losing 11. So Wimpy has had a suboptimal start, really. And Tipsy has had a great start. So not many cars on the soft. I would expect, if there will be a safety car, many people would go onto the hard tire and try to go as long as they possibly can. There's very close pack in front. And there's a sector 2 yellow flag. I think that's Wimpy again. Wimpy who spins in turn 7. Doesn't look like he has any wing damage, but Wimpy seems to have some slight internet issues from what it looks like, as his car is teleporting a little bit. And it's a Neon Race who I think spun. Because Neon Race went from P5 to P9. Alex now going for the fastest lap, and that's McAlchman who has spun in Sector 3. The Haas driver spins in the chicane. And now that Bance is being overtaken by Alexander. So that Bance is now gonna be in the slipstream of Alexander. Or well, the dirty air for most of the track. Which might be a good strat. He might just be saving fuel, saving tires. And saving ERS by sitting behind him while Alexander is gonna try to use all of his energy and fuel to pull away from the DRS. Vance on the soft tire, so he will have to box earlier. And he's one of the few that have to do that. We have a lot of drivers on the mediums who can go up until like lap 13, I believe, and that's Wimpy crashing out of the GP after turn 3. So that's an interesting spot to DNF. I have hiccups for some reason. That's content. So McAlchman is quite a bit behind on the medium tires. 8.5 seconds from Piney Tinus, who is the last of the pack. And the top pack is currently the top 4. Alexander another fastest lap with 18.5. So you can see he is pushing to continue. Now Vance turning his DRS off early to not be too close to Alexander. So he is trying to stay behind him. He is currently not trying to overtake him. Now Pixel, who is in 5th, also had a really good start, is trying to catch up to Curse and perhaps help his teammate to push to the end to win. Larson, who's leading the other pack, is currently in front of Kalzerb in the Alpha Tauri. There's 2 packs with the front pack, the top 4. Then we have a little bit of a lonely Pixel, who is a little bit no man's land. And there's a big crash behind. I think that's Joel crashing with Suika. And those two are off in turn 7 in the chicane before the fast right-hander of turn 9. And Suika spinning again of, I think the reason that he has 2 warm tires. Those look absolutely baked, so I don't think he can really continue much longer on these. Alex with another fastest lap. Now I think Alexander will just try to push as hard as he can. He doesn't have much ERS, you can see he only has about 10%, maybe less. While Vance almost has 3/4 of his ERS full. So Vance is definitely being conservative on his power usage here. So now we have Pixel and Larson kind of being lonely with 2 packs. 1 pack in front and 1 pack behind. And yeah, the top 5 is literally just blue. How do you like your top 5? Blue. Yes. It's quite annoying sometimes to see the difference between, for example, the Williams and the Alpine, for example. Because Red Bull is quite distinctive because it's like a darker blue, but the Williams and Alpine are just... they're just too similar of a color to really see the difference in quickly. So now Band's actually barely in the DRS of Alex, and Kerr's setting the fastest lap by a 1:18.2. You can see how effective the DRS really is on the straight here. Band's gained 4 tenths purely because he had the DRS. No, Aston Martin doesn't look blue. Aston Martin is green. Yeah, literally what? My opinion, that's the greenest it gets. Now Calazurb dropping all the way down to 10th. Fighting with Pagnetinus now. Very interesting name from the McLaren driver. So, does Calazurb have damage? Doesn't look like it, but he was very cautious through turn 9. As there's a yellow flag, that's McAlpine again. McAlpine, the Haas driver. I believe he might have the cursed Mazepin seat of the spinning car. Kerr's going fastest with a 1:18.1. So, I think the soft tires are really starting to die down now. As Calazurb is the first soft runner to box for the mediums. So he is definitely going for the 2-stop. And he had it looks like he had a decent stop. Probably 2.6 seconds. And he comes out just behind McAlpine and in front of Suika. So he is towards the back of the pack. Back of the pack. No pun intended. So the only real close battle right now is both the McLarens. With Pagnetinus going down the inside of his teammate Tipsyweb, and I think Tipsyweb is just letting him through. Trying to not cause any drama between the two teammates. McAlpine getting a 3-second time penalty. So these two are the only ones with a really close battle, and then there's the battle up front, which isn't really one where there's a lot of position changes. It's just mostly them sitting in a train. Now will Tipsyweb attack his teammate here? He is using his ERS, and he will just sail through, but Pagnetinus braking later. And they're still going side by side, but Tipsy has the inside. They're still going side by side through turn 3. And they're still side by side into turn 4. Pagnetinus braking later, side by side in turn 4. This is great racing by the two McLarens. Pagnetinus now having the inside of the corner, and he keeps the position. Great racing from these two. You love to see it. Now Tipsyweb DRS open again, but this straight is just a little bit too short to make a move on. Great battle between the two McLarens. Zach Brown definitely is sweating while watching this. Now Tipsyweb quite far behind. He is using his energy, and Pagnetinus is not. So I think Tipsyweb might try it again. But this is gonna be close. He decides not to go for it. So he stays behind his teammate. And actually that band's dropped down to P3 already. So he has been overtaken by Curse. So the soft strategy might not be paying out in the end. Oh, and he almost loses it. Keeps it straight on the track. That's the most important part. Now Mali is right on his tail. Mali having to lift her a little bit because of the slow Alpine in front of him. Now I think this is really a call as that bend goes deep and Mali is now down his inside and past him. So I think this is really a sign for bands showing that the tires are really coming towards the end of their life and it's time to box for a fresh set. And is that what he's gonna do? No, he is staying out. He has the DRS from Mali. So those two can just follow each other for now. Actually, that man's not going for a move. Decides to brake early. Not wanting to go out of the DRS of Mali. But Bands has lost a lot of time to the top two. They have pulled away quite a bit from the other two cars that were in the pack. And sector 1, that's Piney Tina's going off. So I don't know if there was contact, or if it was him going on the curb too much, for example. Bob's car doesn't look damaged. So I think that might have been him going over the curb a little bit too much. Piney Tina's in the 66 McLaren. Now Neon Race being behind Larson pretty closely. Those two are fighting for P6 currently. The Ferrari versus the Aston Martin. Now is it just me, or does the Ferrari look like it has a burnt back end? It just looks like the gearbox has burnt the bodywork a little bit. And Kurz overtook Alexander for the lead. So the two Williams are going 1-2 currently. Just like they were last week. Of course, these are two reserve drivers. The full-time drivers from Williams are not here today. In fact, I think the top 3 are currently all reserves. And Neon Race is already past the past Aston Martin. So not many really close battles, unfortunately. Is that? No, it wasn't. That was my mistake. I thought Band spun, but I was spectating Pixel. So Pixel already up to P5. Now, I do wonder when these soft runners are going to start pitting. And the answer is now. So, lap 10, Mali and Bands both go in for their pit stop. What tires is it going to be? I see hards for the Red Bull. And I see mediums for Bands. So, Bands is deciding to go for the 2-stop. Where Mali is deciding to go for the 1-stop. This will be interesting towards the end of the race for sure. So Mali going for the riskier soft hard strategy, where Bands is going for the less risky but slower 2-stop. Of course, Mali does have a penalty. Let's actually have a look at the penalties. It's only Mali and McAlkman who both have 3-second time penalties. The rest doesn't have penalties at the moment, but of course that can all change as we are only 1/3 into the race. Now currently, Kurz and Alex are still close behind each other. No, 1-stopper on mediums is not possible. On this track, the soft medium is just impossible. And Alexander, look how much he's gaining on pure speed. Not even using his ERS, but Kurz lets him go. But that might have been a little bit of team orders there. Kurz getting a 3-second time penalty, so that's suboptimal from him. Can they really? That's interesting. I didn't know that. But now the question is, how much slower will they be towards the end compared to these hards? So I would assume the hards will be way quicker towards the end than those mediums. So if Benz really wants to do this one stop, he needs to get past Mali as quick as he possibly can. And McAlchman now having 6 seconds of time penalties due to track warnings. The Benz in the DRS of Mali. Not going for it, just staying behind him, waiting for the best overtaking opportunity, which is down the main straight, of course. Now these two Williams are really being super close on pace. They are so close together. But now, will Benz go for the overtake of Mali? Let's have a look. Yes, he will. Look how much speed he already has compared to Mali in the Red Bull. So Benz, now that he is in front of Mali, needs to set a good pace, but keep in mind that he has to keep these tires alive. So he needs to find the correct balance between tire saving and pace. Pixel now getting a 3-second time penalty as well. Pixel currently in P3. In a pretty lonely place. Of course, on the medium tires. He's 10 seconds behind the other podium guys. And I expect them to be pitting in about maybe 3 laps-ish. Something like that. Unless they want to go for the medium soft. Then they will continue longer, of course. As Alexander now gets overtaken by Kurz again. So I'm pretty sure these two are just playing around a little bit, trying to not be bored by still fighting for the lead. So it's Neon Ray is actually the first one on the mediums to box. He decides to go for the hards. So still the medium hard, a very valuable strategy from what it looks like. Suika now getting a 3-second time penalty as well. Mali very close on Tipsy Bob now, which Benz is already past. Alex now getting a 3-second time penalty as well. So him and Kurz in the Williams are currently equal on penalties. So now Tipsy on old mediums versus Mali on fresh hards. And from what it looks like, Mali has the pace advantage at the moment. Sector 3 yellow flag. I think that's Suika who has spun in the last corner. Who is now getting lapped by the leaders. Do I see it correctly? Will he get DRS from that? He won't. Suika pulling off to the side, letting the leaders go. Very well done on the blue flags. Now that's someone coming out of the pit lane as well. I think that's McAlchman. Which Suika is fighting for position with. And that was close. Of course, they are both being ghosted at the moment, but now they're not. So now it's fair racing again. Band's going fast as it was 17.3. A very quick lap from him on those tires. Band's currently in P4, so that's Pixel that has box, and Pixel is on the hards. So he is on a completely different strategy than his teammate. Now Bands really needs to find that good balance between pace and tire wear. Because if he won't, that might cost him the one stop. Which will be very hard, even with proper tire management. And now Kaluzerb has speeding in the pit lane, currently in P10. After 7 laps, or 8 laps on the mediums, already switching to another set of mediums. So I don't know if he spun on them or if he just isn't feeling... Oh no, it's a wing change. So he must have spun somewhere and broke his wing. So now Tipsy now staying behind Mali. Tipsy will be boxing soon. I would expect him to box maybe even this lap. as those mediums are starting to come to the end of their life. But no, he stayed out. So Tipsy Bob's staying out, continue on those tires. Williamses are still going at it. It's really surprising how close the pace is between these two Williamses. Is it Williamses? Is it Williai? Is it just Williams? And Kerr's getting another few second time penalty, so Kerr's is now on 6 seconds, where his teammate is on 3. That might be good for Bans though, as Bans has 0 currently. Let's have a look on how the warnings for Bans are. Bans only has 1 warning, so he is pretty safe for now in terms of penalties. He just needs to keep it clean for the end of the end of the race, and now Kerr's going back into lead, of course. Those who are just playing around, having fun at the front. They have a 16-second gap, so they can afford it. Now towards the back, there's actually a freeway battle between Suika, Kalizerb, and McAlkman. They are pretty close together, of course, Kalizerb having the freshest tires. As Joel gets a 3-second time penalty. I think that's his first penalty, it is. You can see Kalizerb now having the tire advantage over McAlkman, but he almost spins. He keeps it though. Now that engine noise is questionable. It's also a new bug, it's only in this game. Where the engine just sounds like it's like stalling almost. Sounds like it's choking in itself. Almost spins again on the curb. Those curbs, man, you really have to be careful over those. I have a really dry throat. I forgot to take my water. And Alexander now getting a 6-second time penalty in total. So again, the Williamses are equal on penalties again. Now Kalizer we're getting past McAlkman, which was to be expected as he is on a softer tire compound. Vance now gaining a little bit to Larson. And there is a yellow flag. That's Joel crashing out. I think the leaders will be going past him right now. And we have a safety car. So we have the first safety car of the season. Joel, who crashed out on exit turn 9. Wait, no, not the first safety car of the season. The first safety car of the race. On lap 19. So this will be extremely beneficial for those who haven't boxed yet. Now what I'm interested in is if that band is gonna box. Because if the leaders are gonna box, this is the perfect opportunity for him to box as well. And be right next to them on another set of fresh tires. He should still have a set of used mediums from qualifying. Let's have a look what bands will go on. The top 2 are going on softs. So Curse is going on softs. What is Alexander going on? Bands going into the pits. So the top 2, both the Williamses, are going on softs. Larson, he is going on softs as well. So if Bands is gonna go on softs and Curse is getting held, Bands also going on softs. Or not Curse is getting held, Larson is getting held. So everyone up front is going for those softs. I assume everyone will just box for fresh softs. And actually Neon Ray is going for mediums. So Neon doesn't think that the softs will be able to make it to the end. Let's see what the Williams will do. He does go to the soft. So currently the only car not on softs after their box is Neon Rays, who is on the mediums. That's interesting. That's really interesting. So look, Suika is a lap down. So of course he is in P12, behind the leaders. So is that Calazar continuing? It is him continuing. Where McAlkerman is going into the pits. A Haas gonna box for, I think those are fresh mediums. So he does not trust in the softs either. Let's see if Suika will pit. If thinks he needs to, he will. No, he's staying out. So we have 2 cars that have boxed that are on the mediums. The rest is on softs. And then the 2 cars that have stayed out, one of them is on mediums and one of them is on hards. Now Neon Rays might have big brained this if he knows that the softs won't make it, but if the softs will make it, that might be a difficult one. Because once again, overtaking is very difficult here. Right, so the safety car. We have 2 more cars that need to catch up. I think it's Piney Tinus now currently catching up to the safety car. And then we'll have Calazurb. Softs can make it. Well, there it is. So maybe Neon Rays hasn't big brained this. Or he'll have to show supreme pace towards the end. Now, as you can see in the background, a lot of that band's fans waving the Spanish flag. That band's currently in P4. So it looks like safety car will be out for 1 more lap. Especially McAlkerman, who has not caught up yet. Did I not see him or did he box? I don't know. I think I might not have seen him. Actually, because it's a safety car, I'm gonna be back in about 10 seconds. I'm gonna grab a glass of water. A bottle of water. Right, and we are back. Ah yes, not having a dry throat anymore. Feels good, man. So a lot of drivers weaving. So most of the drivers will believe that the safety car is going in this lap. And it is. Right, so from now, Kurz has the control of the speed. McAlkerman is now caught up to the pack. So he can still continue racing. So here is where Kurz is starting to slow down a lot. letting the safety car go into the pits so he can grab a margin and decide where to start. Now that's that's Molly and Alex getting a 5-second time penalty. Suik also getting time penalty. So there have been a few bonks towards the end, and Alex actually having a great start. Not letting Curse catch him off guard. And Alex has the lead after the safety car restart. So now Bans is currently on Larson's tail. Wait, Bans has a penalty as well. Bans got a 5-second time penalty. Now those, of course, might get removed, depending on who bonked who. There is a chance that they will get removed. Now Molly is trying to attack Bans. A little bit of a switchback, but Bans stays in front. Now look how close they are behind each other. Curse getting another 3-second time penalty. That might cost him a lot of positions toward the end. We have 10 lap sprint left after the safety car restart. A little bit of a gap back towards the end. Suika, of course, being the only one that's a lap down. Neon Race, who had a really bad start, is now again in P10 because the McCalcan man has spun in turn 9. And we have a VSC. So not even a lap of racing after the restart, and we have a virtual safety car. So this is good for the people that that are on softs and have to save the tires a little bit. Let's have a look again at the penalty situation. Alexander currently has 11 seconds, where Curse has 9. Larson has actually 0 penalties. Vance has 5. Molly 6. So this is going to be interesting. And we are green again. So VSC is no more and we are back to racing. Curse had a really poor restart compared to his teammate. So Curse is in P2 currently. There's another yellow flag. I think that's Suika spun. Suika currently in P12. Spun and is 2 laps down. I believe that is now. Or no, he has been lapped by everyone now. Not only the leaders but by everyone. So that's really unfortunate for him. That bands on the tail of Larson, who's currently in P3. Of course, if Bands can stay within 6 seconds of Alexander, he should still, on paper, have the win. If that 5-second penalty of his gets removed. DRS enabled this lap, so not on this DRS rate, but the next DRS rate we will have DRS again. Bands taking the curb where Larson isn't. Doesn't seem to gain him much time. Go on board with Mali here. And watch this battle from behind. As those three here are technically fighting for the win. Okay, is Mali? Mali not really, because Mali has 6 seconds of time penalties. But Bans and Larson are definitely fighting for the win here. And if they work together just a little bit, he can just, if they just work together a little bit, that might be good for both of them, where they can catch up to the leaders. Although the Williams will be working together for sure. Well, Alexander setting the fastest lap of a 1:16.6. Very quick lap time from him. And now Bans is going for the overtake on Larson. First a little bit of a move, but Bans is passed. So Bans currently in net leader in terms of penalties. Actually, no, technically Larson is a net leader of penalties, isn't he? Now Molly is getting really close to him. The Red Bull almost touching the Aston Martin on the rear. But they stay clean. I don't know if it's just me, but that front wing on the Aston Martin seems a lot higher up than all of the other cars. That means he might be running the cheeky higher front right height for the extra top speed. I mean, at least that was the meta last game, towards the end. So now Larson trying to defend from Mali and attack Bans at the same time. Now he isn't quite close enough. So Bans keeps in P3 for now. But Bans kind of has to step up the pace for the last 7 laps if he still wants to be in contention for the win. There's a yellow flag in Sector 1. I think that's Kaliserb who has spun on the mediums. And yes, he has. Thankfully, he's going again. Doesn't look like he has damage. He has damage. And I think that's Pixel who went off slightly. Yes, he did. You can see the gravel marks on his tire. So he went off, but he kept it. Again, the two McLarens close together. The Tipsy Ob to the outside. Piney Teen is braking later. Tipsy Ob has the switchback, but doesn't go on power quick enough. So Piney Teen just keeps the move and goes out to P6. So now Mali has overtaken Larson. Now if Bans is smart, he wouldn't fight Mali too hard because Mali has 6 seconds of time penalties. And by the looks of it, he isn't fighting it hard whatsoever. He's just gonna let him fly past. Kaliserb getting a 3-second time penalty. So if Bans is smart, he will just let Mali tow him to the front. Mali showing really good pace compared to all the other cars fighting for technically P3, but on paper for the win. Excuse me. But these cars are still close together. There isn't really much going on anymore as there's only 11 cars left. Of course, the Williams are not in each other's DRS anymore. And it looks like Bans is no longer in the DRS of Mali. So that might actually cost Bans a lot of time. But Larson isn't in Bans' DRS either. So everyone here has built up quite a significant gap between each other where DRS isn't activated anymore. Bans trying to boost back into the DRS, but I don't know if he can keep that close for the rest of the lap. As the soft tires are starting to come to an end now. Of going quick. Of course, Mali now having the fastest lap. Let's actually look at the fastest laps. Pretty close together in the top 4. So Bans currently on a 6-second gap to the leader. 6.3. So even if his penalty gets removed, it won't matter. He will still get P2, but at what cost? So Bans now back in the DRS for the long straight, but he has a bad exit. He went a little bit deep in the chicane and now has a bad exit onto the straight. So that cost him possibly quite a bit of time. Mali trying to disturb his slipstream. Bans really close now again. So this battle is They have to really push. Be within the reach of Alexander. Yeah, Bance needs to gain a lot of time. The leader, I think, is pulling about 3/10 a lap, maybe a bit more. And in these last 4 laps, that will be hard to stay in. Unless Alexander gets another penalty. Which I don't think will happen, to be honest. Let's have a look at this amount of warnings. Alright, I don't think you will get any more penalties, to be honest. Bands not in the DRS of Mali again. So they're really going back and forth, but now that's Pagnetinus overtaking Larson. I didn't see that he caught up this much within the last few laps. So Pagnetinus now in P5, but we have to remember, Larson doesn't have any penalties. So Larson is still very much in the fight for the podium here. If he could maybe step up the pace just a tiny bit, he could still be in contention for the podium towards the end of the race. Now everyone seems to be in quite low ERS. Why is the thing on again? Did I enable that? Might have misclicked. Actually, let's keep it on for now. So that we have a better look at people's ERS towards the end here. Kerr's back in the boost, or back in the DRS, excuse me, of his teammate. And now he is boosting to get as close as he possibly can. Only 1% of his battery left. They are both quite low on ERS. But I think Curse is currently on maximum attack mode. Larson losing quite a bit of time with Pagnetinus. Who is that has spun? That is Suika again in the Alfa Romeo. Alfa Romeo has spun in Sector 3. 16 seconds of penalties as well. Which is once again suboptimal. These two Williamses, I'm still amazed by how close they are together. They have been on the same pace throughout the whole race. The whole race they have been together. From start to end. They've kept moving close, and Alexander actually gets another penalty. So now, this makes stuff interesting. The gap to leader from Bance is 7 seconds, which means that he might still be in for the win. Bance needs to start pushing just a little bit more if he still wants to go for the win. And now Neon Ray's overtaking Tipsy Bob for P7. So Neon Ray's on those mediums. Those mediums are finally starting to come into effect on the last lap. So on this lap, Bance has to give it all. He has to use all of his energy if he still wants that win. He needs to push as hard as he can. Of course, he needs to believe that that penalty will get removed. And that will only be able to be said after the stewards have had a look at it. But Pagnetinus is right on his back. So Pagnetinus might have conserved his tires better, but I don't think there's really a spot to overtake here on the last lap. So our race winner on track will be Alexander Zhu from SLR, who goes over the line and wins. Kurz jumping him, finish P2. Mali will be jumping Alexander, and now that Bance is going P4 with Pagnetinus jumping him, and Larson taking the win provisionally. Of course, we will see how that ends on penalties. Pixel now coming in P9. Of course, the 2 new Alpine drivers, Latbans and Pixel, 2 new full-times. There was a reserve last week. Now they are full-time drivers. Calazar will be coming in P10, scoring 1 point for the Alpha Tauri team. But actually in front of him, but still behind him, is Suika, who is currently in P11. He will finish and stay in P11, going over the line right now. And Calazar, the last one to go over the line, coming over the line right now, just weaving a little bit. And his AI spinning the car. And that's it. Easy win for Larson, as Dragon said in the chat. So Tipsy Up driver of the day. Now this was a very interesting race, to say the least. For me, driver of the day would definitely have to be Tipsy as well, as the game said. Started at P14, went to P6. I think that's most positions gained, and no penalties as well. So, although, to be honest, also Larson from P9 to P1. Also no penalties, that's also a very good show from him. I'm just gonna go through all the incidents for the stewarding. Just so everyone of the stewards knows what's going on. And yeah, this was it. So Larson taking the win for now. After stewarding, we will see who wins. Kurz in P2, Mali in P3, Tiny Tinus P4, Dad Benz in P5, Tipsy Bob in P6, Alexander in P7, Neon Rays in P8, Ixon P10, and Calazerb rounding out our top 10. Suika in P11, McCalkman in P12, Joel in P13, and Wimpy in P14. So now I think we shall move on to the interviews. So I'm just gonna send a message. Interviews come in general for Oh, we have 2 people already, the Williamses. So let's take the Williams that finished first, Alexander, and swipe him in. Good evening, Alex.
Good evening.
So, first of all, congratulations on technically winning the race on track.
Yes.
You and your teammate, of course, having great pace, both staying together throughout the whole race. Bit unfortunate on the penalty situation there. But the one thing I want to know is what happened on the safety car restart, because a lot of people got 5-second penalties.
Yeah. So basically, it was a tight grid. It's always that when a safety car is about to go. So we were just backing up the pack because me and Chris were leading. So nothing about that. And then I think I was almost at the last penultimate corner. I felt a bump in my rear. I was like, oh, okay. He touched me, but nothing happened. I didn't get anything. But then he touched me again, and then I got the penalty. So yeah, I hope that will get removed. I'll probably show it to the FIA and see what they can do. So yeah, that was the situation, and I also think Bant got caught up in that. I saw that he had a 5-second time penalty as well.
Yeah, there was quite a few people with 5-second penalties, so I think it will get reported, and
Yeah.
we will see what the results will be in the end.
Yep.
But yeah, in general, it was a very strong race from you and your teammate. You both were switching positions throughout the whole race, keeping a very good and consistent pace.
Yeah,
So,
we were going for the one stopper, so we were going for. I was really like, this is not going to work, because at the end, I think it was 20, yeah, at lap 20 or lap 19 before the safety car, I was like, I think my left front was at 81%. Yeah, I was like, "It's no way. I need to go in now and I have to see if I soft make it." But I don't think they were. But then we got the safety car. That was like a gift from above. It was a perfect, and me and Chris double stacked, and it really favored us.
Yeah, I was about to say the safety car really worked perfectly in your favor,
Yeah,
boxing right where you were supposed to box anyway. So it was pretty much perfect for both of you guys.
yeah. It was the best thing that could have happened.
So yeah, in general, really, really good race from you. Congratulations on technically winning the race. We'll see what position you end on
Yeah,
after the FIA does their stuff. I believe it
yeah.
should still be top 5 now.
Yeah, I think if I did the math right, I would be third or second, because me and Kurs had our last lap battle, and came ahead of him. And some people, I think Mali had 3 or 6 seconds of corner cutting penalties. So I think top three. Yeah,
Alright, so yeah, I guess go ahead, do your stuff with the FIA, and
yeah.
hopefully see you next week.
I'll see you next week. Have a
Alright,
good one.
you too. And now let's pull in Curse, our second Williams. Good
Hello.
evening.
Good evening.
So, technically getting P2 in the race.
Yeah, technically.
You and your teammate, of course, having great pace, like I already said. Just being with each other pretty much from start to end.
Yeah,
Perfect
we.
safety car. The only thing I think that happened for you was if 2 track warning penalties in the end.
Yeah, I'm not sure how I got them because I didn't get a single like warning for them. So it was like I just out of the blue 3 second, and I was like, oh, of course.
Of course, the cursed penalties.
Yeah, but as well as the tire issue that Alexander spoke about, I had a fuel issue because I underfueled the car expecting, like an early safety car or something. So I was just like really panicking. I was like, oh no, I'm like 1 second down on fuel. So, but then when the safety car came, obviously that was like a lifesaver at that point. And then the last few laps were just like the sweatiest for me and Alexander, just trying to like pull away the gap from the penalties and stuff.
Yeah,
But I think,
so that was then the safety car really worked in your favor, not only for tires but also for fuel. So that
yeah,
was pretty much perfect.
yeah, I think Alexander would finish first anyway. I think if
I believe if the 5 second would be removed, I believe he would finish second or third. That's what he
uh,
said, at least.
oh, because he would have a 6 second time penalty with that removed, and I had a
No,
nine
he would have
second.
he would have had a 9, I believe, because he got a penalty towards the end.
Did he? I
Yeah,
thought it said 11 seconds at the end.
I thought
Yeah, I could check
I
quickly.
don't remember.
Oh yeah, he did. Never
Yeah,
mind. Yeah,
yeah. So he would drop down to like P2 or P3.
yeah. I think it would be P2 and I'll be P3. I think it will be. So yeah.
That's I guess we'll see the real ending after the FIA has done
Yeah.
their stuff. Because I
Yeah.
assume
I
there will be a
mean,
lot of reports for those 5 second time penalties.
yeah. I mean, anyway, it's not like it can contribute to the standings or anything for me and Alexander, as we're reserve.
Yeah, you guys are both reserved, but I believe Bands might be able to get a win. So
Yeah,
he would
it
end
could
up
be.
on 50 points, I think.
Yeah, I think you'll probably get the win with that 5 second, but it's still nice to know that in my heart I got P2.
In your on paper, you got P2.
Yeah.
So that's just a proud little thing you can always keep in
Yeah.
mind.
And
I mean, it
it's
was a really strong performance from you.
Yeah, I mean, compared to tier 3, I don't know what happened. I just like instantly just became quick. Like I was really slow there, but then like I mean, I would have probably won tier 3 if it wasn't for the safety car. But I mean, like my pace today was like completely different to what it was on tier 3, 2S.
Just a wee bit of crack. And
Yeah,
yeah, that's magic.
yeah.
So yeah, hopefully see you back next week. With I believe that will Monaco.
Yeah.
Interesting race.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, hopefully see you back then, and hopefully you'll show again amazing pace like you did this race.
Yeah, thank you.
Alright, so enjoy the rest of your night.
And you. See you.
Bye.
Bye.
Alright. So this was the end for the tier 2 race. Hopefully see you guys back next week. With of course Monaco. Very interesting race that's gonna be. Definitely quali will be more interesting than the race itself. Because as we know, Monaco is even harder to overtake than here. But yeah.